Good morning.
On behalf of our Department of ECE, I welcome you all for the 12th session of this AICT ATL sponsored workshop. Today's speaker is Dr. Kayalvizhi. Madam has rich experience of 21 years of research experience, teaching experience. She is an associate professor in the Department of NWC School of Computing and has strong research profile. She has many international collaborative projects and publications, and she has published so far 45 plus publications in SCI and Scopus high indexed journals. Countries she has collaborated includes USA, Japan, UK, Belgium, Sweden, Oman, Rwanda, Malawi, etc. Other important roles she holds includes the coordinator for International Opportunity Cell, coordinator for SRMIST IoT Center of Excellence at School of Computing, SRMIST, SRM ACM SIGI faculty member, and Dutch community lead. She is founder and mentor for the not-to-profit club IoT Alliance since 2014. This club recently has been awarded to be the role model club under AICTE Spicer Scheme, Government of India. She is the associate editor of IoT Theory and Fundamental Research section in the open access journal Frontiers of Internet of Things, led by Dr. Marwan Al-Khadai since September 2022. Frontiers is a gold international open access publisher, which is currently the 6th biggest research publisher and the 3rd most cited publication journal. Madam is the technical reviewer for Sensors, MDPI, Indonesian Journal of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, IEEE Sensors 2020 conference sponsored by IEEE and IEEE Sensors Council. She has been acting as an international supervisor and visiting professor to University of Rwanda, and she is a recipient of Best Paper Presentation Award in International Conference on Computer Communication and Internet in Japan. She is co-PI with job roles as International Expert Advisor for project related to agriculture under Women in Science Research and Innovation Grant Scheme funded by NCST Rwanda. The grant amount is $144,675 US, and she is a co-PI with job role as International Expert Advisor for project related to COVID-19 healthcare techniques by NCST Rwanda, and the grant amount is 45 lakhs. She is also co-PI of 4 SATU projects in collaboration with Taiwan, Malaysia. Few are mentioned here. She is a state level IT coordinator towards National Family Health Survey funded by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. The project amount worth is 3 crores 75 lakhs and plus. She received consultancy amount of INR 1,40,000. The IoT project, she is an IoT project advisor for a Sweden-based startup, Weber Mobility AB. And she is also a consultant to Carnegie Mellon University, Africa on the project Road Crash Reporting and Analytics. She is a recipient of grant fund of 2,000 euros by AI Journal towards the application submission AAIW for underprivileged in 2019. She is also a recipient of grant and aid 2 lakhs under AICT Spicer Scheme for IoT Alliance Club development. The grant was in 2021. She is also a recipient of Samsung Excellent Project Award for the work IET Neighborhood Crime Analysis. And she has received ACM Services Recognition Award for contribution to ACM XRDS magazine. She is also a reviewer in book series of Springer Proceedings in Mathematics and Statistics, which is in conjunction with the workshop on Complex System Modeling and Simulation since 2019, Malaysia. Welcome, ma'am. Now I request our VP Academics, ma'am, to felicitate ma'am with the momentum. Today's speaker is here to enrich us with the topic Research Insights into IoT.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm very happy that there are less amount of participants for the reason I can pinpoint each of you by your name and then we interact. The crowd doesn't matter. There are two reasons for this. One is anyway there's a recording which could be shared to anybody who's interested. Number one, they don't miss anything. And the second is when the crowd is very less, the focus becomes very keen or like very positively high. So I always like to have a very small crowd. So I'm very happy for that. Because it's a little crowd, I just wanted to ask you, like, will you be there for the other 2 hours with me, or anybody will go back? Okay, you will be with me. The first commitment from me to you is definitely these 2 hours will be very, very useful. It's not because that I have something unique to say, but I will share something out of my experiences as well, which I thought like you cannot Google it. Everybody has some sort of experience which really matters. Whenever they read books, okay, we usually say whenever you wanted to succeed in something, please talk to somebody nearby or go read books, because we don't know, we cannot interact with the foreign professional or what. So they write their own biographies, so we go read them. But as far as the books I've read with some known people, okay, there are some pages missing. Okay, it's like nadula konja pakatha kaanum madri. There are some things which they hide. Like for example, because it's I'm just saying, you understand what I'm trying to tell. For example, there is a publication, okay, which you have to publish. Might be there are some people who directly applied and got out of merits, right? But there are some people who have some kind of influential factors. They never mentioned that that's the way they got their papers published. Am I making sense to you? I'm not saying everybody does it, but do you have the courage to say that and say, yeah, I did this, but I will not do it again because I now know the methodology to crack it meritoriously. You're getting what I'm saying? If you know how to crack it, why would people do that, right? So what I thought was I'm going to share something related to that as well, because my whole idea is about what is research. Everybody knows it, but is there any ways by which you can improvise in terms of specific skills? If you have it, there's a percentage of chances enhanced when you use those along with your existing skills. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Because there is a topic, I cannot go completely deviated. So I would have some kind of agenda, but still wherever there is requirement, I'm going to touch upon that. And we'll have more time for discussion. That's what I planned for. And if it's okay, can you just introduce your name and just say what is your research topic? Okay, if you're working on some research, you can just tell me what is your research topic. And it's just optional. I'm not forcing anybody to do that. If you feel like sharing, because I could connect something or interconnect something and speak about it. So I have some 21 years of experience, and I've worked as the profile was read. There was just one chance I got, okay? That manifested into 20. Just one opportunity, which was like for University of Rwanda. There was not many takers. If it's US or UK, people have that craze, right? Always it's like that. Whenever I have an opportunity to UK, we proudly say I work with UK, I work with US. If you say Africa, because there is always not much takers. But I'll tell you, those are some things which nobody takes. If you're going to take it and launch it, the upliftment which you're going to get out of that opportunity is enormous. Whatever you get in hand, if you tap it, I'm a living example for that. It was just for no money. You just have to spend a lot of time for them. absolutely no money. Okay, initially when you started out, like 5-6 years before, you have to train them, you have to teach them out of your extra load, no load reduction, nothing. But for that work, which was done for 6 months, has manifested into what all was read. It all happened just in 3 years. That one takeoff. Okay, we impress them, we kind of do with hard work, then they refer you to someone, then it becomes like you don't have to wait. People from somewhere mail you and ask you, are you ready to work? You might not believe if something like that happens. The answer is, it happens. One person from Sweden, just 2 months before, I don't know who they are, they mailed me saying, I wanted to work with you. Even I thought, is it a fake? Is it a spam? How would people from Sweden send a mail to me? Everybody has this, right? We don't think high of ourselves. We usually think, yeah, okay, how people will do. Then when I checked with 2 of my students, they told she's a high profile candidate. She's such a high profile person, and it's fact, it's truth. She is working there as marine biologist and all that, and they're saying, no, it is not fake, it's true. She works there in that university. So what am I trying to tell you is, always aim higher. We are much higher than what we think. That is the message I wanted to say. Everybody here, if you think you're this much, definitely you're not this much. The only thing is you feel that you're like that, right? So this is something I just wanted to send as message to you before I start. Kindly have very high hopes. Don't think people will not call you. A person from very high profile will call you. The only thing is, are you sincere and hardworking? You don't have to have the essential skills also. Are you ready to work? Are you ready to be committed? Are you ready to give your time? Okay, then everything comes automatically. The only thing which we look for research, you know what's your meaning of research? Why it's called research?
Searching again.
It's not new. They're not asking you to find anything new. It's like something is there, somebody has left it. Can you research it to get it again? Right? So it's very authentically they are saying you don't have to find anything new. Something is left. Okay, something is left by somebody. Can you pick that up by repeatedly reading and repeatedly looking into it? Okay, that needs a lot of time and perseverance, right? Okay, so having said this, anybody who wants to introduce yourself, you can do. I mean, it's optional, but still, you can raise your hand and do that. And I'm not your teacher as well to reduce your marks if you don't talk to me. I want it to be interactive. That's all, right? You can have mine. Ma'am, it's okay, right? I can do this for some time.
I am VG Saranya, research scholar from ECE department. My topic is under wireless sensor networks.
Wireless sensor.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
There was one. And when she picks up like that, I've been told I'm from computer science. Okay, my full education is electronics. I'm not a computer science person at all. Electronics and communication is my BE, ME is embedded systems, and the PhD is computer science with background of IoT sensors. So I'm basically very connected to ECE.
Good morning, ma'am. I am Gayatri. I am a full-time research scholar in ECE department, and my research area includes vehicular communications.
Vehicular.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Shanti. I am from SRMIST Engineering College, doing my research in the area of IoT.
IoT specifically anything?
Initially, I planned to do in energy efficiency, ma'am, but now I am working with smart monitoring systems.
Okay, you are just exploring.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I am Rajeshwari. I am full-time research scholar. I am from computer department. I am doing my research in EEG signal.
EEG signals.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Banapriya, research scholar from KTR, EC department. I'm doing research in data uploading for vehicular communication.
Oh, vehicular
Yeah.
communication. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. I am Subhatra from KTR campus. I am doing my research in mental stress reduction using physiological signal.
Mental
Stress reduction.
reduction.
Yes.
Okay, much needed. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. I am Purushottam. I am studying MA first year.
Okay, which specialization, sir?
VLSI designing. Thank you.
Morning, ma'am. I'm Rati. I'm full-time research scholar at SRMIST campus. My research topic is WSN-based agri-agriculture.
Okay, WSN. So,
Good morning, ma'am. Myself Abhirami from SRM Valiam Engineering College. I am planning to do research in IoT.
anything specific?
Planning to do in surveillance.
Surveillance.
I'm Jayanti, Department of CSE, Research Scholar. Actually, I'm doing my project on ECG signals.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Vinod, working as an associate professor in a New Horizon College of Engineering, Bangalore. Actually, my area of research is condition monitoring of electrical machines using soft computing techniques. And currently, I am pursuing my postdoctoral fellow in South Ural State University under Department of Electronics and Computer Engineering in the Data Mining Laboratory for the topic IoT-enabled models, methods, and algorithms for computer vision application in electrical engineering domain. And also, currently there are 4 research funding projects I am as a principal investigator. One is deployment of anti-reflective coating of solar PV panels using soft computing techniques under CPRI with the tune of 36.4 lakhs. And another one is enabling of IoT models in battery operated electric vehicles using renewable, that is solar and wind, as well as a grid by using soft computing techniques in Karnataka State of Consonants KSCST led by Indian Institute of Science Bangalore. And one more 3 projects, it is under pipeline with IEEE Power Electronics Society also. As well as I am the EXCO member of IEEE Bangalore section and the Power Electronics Society student chapter.
Thank you to have such a resourceful person. I don't know, do they know your profile? They should integrate, like collaborate with you.
Yeah, and also I am the book author for Jayavel and Sons in soft computing and fuzzy logic, as well as artificial intelligence and special machines in Kattankulathur publications and the basic electrical engineering textbooks.
Thank you to have you here.
Good morning, madam. Myself, K. Ravi Kumar, working as assistant professor in SRMIST Vadapalli campus, and belongs to mechanical engineering department. And my research area is materials and characterization. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Myself, Kamachi Arigaran, assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. My research topic is high temperature corrosion behavior of storage materials in thermal energy storage systems. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like I thought there would be some hesitation, but everybody picked up the mic and shared. Thank you so much for that. How many of you know each other before this? You don't know, right? You know, there is like 2 benefits. One is I knew you and you knew each other. And now maybe you know is someone who's nearby, you didn't know he has got such a good profile to integrate and bring out. At the end of the day, the whole purpose of these kind of workshop for me, it's not the content. Content is there in Google. Yes or no? Nobody's going to give you anything new. The only new is networking. Right? You have to talk to your neighbors, only then you can collaborate. It's completely teamwork. Research doesn't happen single. Okay? And if you're a person who's like technically to some extent you're good and you have this kind of networking skills and get along, there's a long way to go. That's my experience as well. So thank you so much for the inputs, and let me see if there is any inputs which I can give you for each of you with respect to whatever I've heard. On the way when we go through presentations, we can do that. And we'll have a lot of interactive session. I'm not saying I will give the answer, we will bring about the answer. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, thank you. Can we start? And would somebody do that for me? Or? So, usually there is a traditional way of doing presentation. I don't do that. Okay, when I sit, like whatever comes to my mind, when I feel something will be useful, then I put those topics. Maybe I don't know, these are some things which I thought would be useful to you. Maybe it doesn't look very traditional as well. They doesn't fit into a protocol of a proper presentation. But what I mean is, this is something which I thought like a plain Google will not help you. That's how the agenda is planned, right? Some questions which you might have in your mind, or which needs a kind of discussion, right? You can stop me at any place where you want, and we can have some interaction. The first thing is like introduce IoT. Everybody knows IoT, but let's check the different ways by which we have understood what is IoT. Though we know the answer, when the question is asked, we always have this stammering. Have you ever seen? If I ask you ML, everybody knows. AI, everybody knows, right? Irrespective of which domain, everybody knows that. But if I ask you to define ML and AI, there's a jerk. And even to a mechanical engineer, I'll just ask him, sir, can you define mechanical engineering? He'll the most used topics, okay, have gone to so deep into our mind that you don't get those words to put it into a proper frame, yes or no? So we're going to try that on IoT, right? And the second thing is, I don't know, have you heard this? There's a lot of hype, bubble, right? Let's come to that as well. Is it IoT a hype, or does it really make some effect on the global economy or in terms of GDP? At the end of the day, any technology has to do something to my nation's economy, right? Yes or no? Are they really playing a role on business, or just a bubble which will break after some time? And the third thing is like, this is as far as my knowledge is concerned, what are the basic skills for IoT? Okay, maybe there are plus or minus, but based on my understanding, I found out that if you have these skills, you can call yourself as kind of skillful in IoT. The next is research in the IoT ground. What happens nationally? Where do we stand in India? And what internationally people are doing on it? Okay. Are we on par to it, or are we a little setback? Right? Let's work out on that. And the next thing was, I think you might have heard this, right? Recently they say cloud. Have you heard about cloud? What is basically cloud is, they say you don't have to own it. It can be given as service. A simplest way of definition. And the most closest example everybody knows. Okay, everybody in the world who uses email would know they are using cloud. Maybe directly not, but indirectly they are using cloud. G Drive. Your Google Drive is a cloud repository, right? Knowingly or unknowingly using it. What does it give? It gives storage. Storage as a service, right? So people started coining the word as platform as service, compute as service, software as service. Now it has become anything you want is offered as service. So people started substituting X as service, right? So here IoT have also gone to that level that you can have a lot of services from IoT spectrum as well, right? But apart from that, I just wanted to showcase, like, can you take IoT as your career? Okay, is there a possibility? If yes, how, right? And the second is in terms of if your aim is not career, but you wanted to do some kind of research and publications in IoT, how do you do that? Okay, that's the second genre. And the third is you're somebody who's aspiring for getting a grant. Okay, so in that places, there is a separate session which I have taken previously, but because of want of time, I'm just touching on all those. Anybody who's interested to collaborate or talk with, okay, you will know that there is something existing on that space from my side, right? So we can always talk to it, I mean, after the session is over or later, right? So how to kind of get the grants, some idea about it. I'm not saying one solution fits all, but based on my experience, there can be something shared. And the next is the conclusion and then the discussion. This is what we're going to go for the agenda. Next slide. Okay, so I told it will be very interactive. I don't have prizes to offer you. Maybe I'll give a clap, and later we'll see how can we, kind of acknowledge you. There's a lot of small tasks in between. Don't take it as a student kind of, but you have to be childlike. That's what I always feel. Even whenever something is happening and you have some question, your brain starts thinking. At the end of the day, you feel very happy about it when you answer, right? So the self-happiness will happen. So I've put some questions in between, like you can raise your hand and kind of answer. So my first thing is, have you seen this person? Or have you, can you kind of connect it at least by common sense? Most of the answers are like, according to me, even if you don't know, if you just look at the slides, you can just guess something about it. What is that person? Maybe you don't know his name, but for which question does the answer maybe in the slide? Do you know who coined the word IoT? So the answer is that person, maybe, right? Otherwise, there's no other relevance, right? So this is called interconnection skills, right? You don't know, but still, there's one figure there. Obviously, that should be the answer. So any guesses?
Kevin Ashton.
Kevin Ashton is the right answer. Can you please applaud? So he is the person who coined the word. Do you know when did he coin?
1997, ma'am.
1997 is he coined, right? I think I'm not very sure about the year, but very recently. Okay, it's not very old. But my question is, IoT, does it exist from long back, or is it very newly existing technology? What is your idea?
From long back only.
Very nice, long back. So, but in the books, when you studied and I studied, did we study IoT?
No.
Then how do we say it long exists?
So actually it started, but the technology is going boom now itself. For the past 10 to 12 years after the mail.
Yeah. Have you heard this statement, old wine in a new bottle? I don't know what is the beautiful equivalent in Tamil or any other, but they have this word, no? Old wine in a new bottle. What do you mean by that? Okay, let me give you one example. You see ads, advertisements of cars. Can you just describe or recollect any one ad of a car? And just tell me what was the ad concept about? Can you visualize what am I trying to tell you? I'm just saying, just think of any of the car, just recollect the ad which comes in the television and tell me what is the concept behind the ad. Just speak out, okay? Just speak out. At the end of the day, what is important is you have to communicate.
Stylish color, vibrant colors.
Vibrant colors. Then?
Features of that. Features of the device.
Features?
Of that car.
Features of that car. Okay. Any one feature?
Safer journey with comfort.
Airbags. Airbags. What else?
Comfort of the seat.
Comfort of the seat. Is the car meant for that? They'll say AC will open, door will open like this. The color of the car. What does the color of the car mean to me? I have to talk in terms of mileage, or I have to talk in terms of engine power, horsepower. Yes or no? Do people talk about it? No, because things have gone to saturation. You cannot think anything more than that in terms of industry, because the technology which was there is already done and exhausted. In terms of storage, maximum. You get that at a very affordable rate. If I have to reduce it, I have to give it for free. Yes or no? Storage almost come to saturation. You get enormous terabytes of very affordable price. Mobile rates have come down. You're getting what am I trying to say? Everything has gone to saturation. Now you and I as a researcher or a job, what will we do if it is saturated? You're getting what am I trying to say? The answer is old wine in a new bottle. IoT was existing in the name of wireless sensor networks previously. IoT was existing in the name of embedded systems previously. Okay? Cloud computing was existing in the name of web services previously. Cloud computing again is a new word. Just the earlier technology was web services. Started using web services so long, people hated that name. So some new thing, I just add a little like this color, this flavor, that flavor. Actually, am I doing anything on the ground? The answer is no. This is one answer which I'm going to tell you. Whatever you are having it now is not new. Be it anything. Okay? It's all refined, it's all modified. So what you should feel is, you should never feel that you don't know. They're kind of cheating. Okay? Just to give you that hype, they put some new words. But actually you know them, but in a different terminology. Okay? People who are working with wireless sensor networks, you can call yourself as IoT engineer. People who are working with embedded system, you can still call yourself as IoT engineer, but with constraints. We'll come to that later. Are you getting what am I trying to tell you? So the idea is, IoT existed long back, so long ago, but the terminology was coined very new, right? And now, there's something like I've written what, why, how IoT. What do you mean by that? What is IoT? Any definition? What is IoT? Okay, because you were talking, let me tell. What is IoT according to me? I have a slogan. Anytime, anything, anywhere. Or every time, everything, everywhere. That's all. Okay, that is what is the basic layman definition people give for IoT, which incorporates all of the meaning into it. When I say anytime, what does it mean? Anytime means 24/7. Okay, you have the connection. Anywhere, wherever you are. Anything, chair, water bottle, everything will communicate with everything. The thing can be living thing or non-living thing. I don't mention that. So I'm saying living thing also, non-living thing also. How do you communicate between two living things? You're living thing and I'm living thing. How do we communicate? There are different ways. If you're near, I use vocal. If you're away, I use some tool to use it. Okay, mobile technology, whatever. At the end of the day, I wanted everybody to be networked. Maybe if I wanted to communicate through your health parameters, I have my ECG sensor put on you. I know your heart. Okay, I know your blood pressure. Can I have sensors put all on? Yes. Can I put a wristband on you? And I monitor what is your sleep pattern? I will know everything about you. Am I not communicating? Right? So that's what they're trying to say. Like IoT is basically I. Okay, the I in the IoT stands for two ways. That's what I interpret. One is internetworking, which I explained you right now. People wanted to internetwork anything with everything, right? And another way of interpreting IoT is how do I network? Okay, how do I network? What is the basic networking technologies you know? How do one computer talk to another computer? How do one mobile talk to another mobile? How do one network talk to, how do one computer talk to another computer? Okay, how do you send files between two mobile phones?
Bluetooth.
Oh, Bluetooth, what else? Wi-Fi? What else? Hotspot is again Wi-Fi. Have you heard about Zigbee, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi? So all these are communication protocols, okay? So I use these to communicate. So again, I'm networking, right? I'm networking this computer with another computer. But can you use Bluetooth to talk to somebody in US? No. So there's a limitation. So when I say anytime, anything, anywhere, there's only one solution which exists, which make it happen. Internet. That's why it's called Internet of Things, which means Internet becomes the backbone of IoT. You get it? Two different ways. There can be many ways of interpretation as well. The best example, so best way of explaining is these two. Networking of things. And you use internet as a backbone because that's the only network existing on earth now which can communicate everybody in the world, yes or no? So that's how the Internet of Things came up. Am I with you? You think of any application, attach IoT to it, it's still valid. Can I make this room IoT? The answer is yes. Call it smart room. Can I make a car IoT? Smart car. You getting what I'm trying to say? Attach anything with IoT, then it becomes smart. Right? So now, one back. Can you see something at the bottom? It's a simple end-to-end prototype of IoT. So if you see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. Okay. Maybe it's a little small, but I can read it for you. What is the first thing is sensors and actuators. Okay. And the second thing is in terms of some compute. And the third is gateway through which you can communicate to the external world. And then repository where you can store whatever data you get in the cloud. And at the last, you have a business problem. Okay. At the end of the day, any technology is here for only one thing: problem solving. Yes? Whatever you speak anything, you speak computer science, you speak ECE, you speak anything. At the end of the day, there should be a problem which you want to solve. If you don't have a problem, we don't call that as an engineer. Yes? Engineers are for solving problems, right? So I have that as a starting point in the world. Though the template is like this, the game starts there. Business has some problem to solve, and now I have to assimilate a lot of items together to solve the problem, right? So basically, if you take about any system in the world, there are 3 parts: input, process, output. Am I making sense? That's all. Maybe you detail it like this, but at the end of the day, there should be an input, there should be output, somebody to process, right? At the end of the day, it comes to that level. So now the question here is, when I say input, okay, input to an IoT system. I'm just migrating to the next level. I'm still in the introduction, but just wanted to put those important words into your mind in a very different way of doing. Instead of telling what is the input sensor, output sensor, I'm trying to do this, right? So now coming to input, right? What do you think is an input for IoT system? Sensors. Okay, what do you mean by sensors?
Sensing the environment.
Very good. How did they get that idea from? They were like doing meditation, some scientists, and suddenly it came into their mind, is it? No. Everything is an inspiration. That's what I was trying to say. It's all copy. Legal copy, illegal copy. Every scientist who does a legal copy, okay, it's called inspiration. Actually, what happened was somebody, when they started all this, they were observing their own body, human body, and they understood like there are 5 senses, 5 sense organs. What are they? Eyes, nose, tongue, ears, and skin. And then they thought, okay, what are they doing? Eyes for seeing, nose for smelling, and similarly. And now they identified what it is sensing? Environment. About my environment, right? The food I eat or what sound is in my environment. So they thought anything which senses is called sensor. So they found out an equivalent of all of this in a sensor world where electronics people were doing that. They created sensors for all of it. Do you know there is a sensor for taste? There was only one thing which people were telling, that we don't have a sensor for taste. But even now that has come. You getting what I'm trying to tell you? Eyes, what is the equivalent sensor in electronics world?
Camera.
Beautiful. What is that for? Ears. Anything which can hear. Earphones. Okay. And loudspeaker? What is loudspeaker, by the way? Is it a sensor or actuator?
Actuator.
So you know confusion, right? So I just gave that just to confuse you. Mic. Sensor. Okay. Mic input, loudspeaker output. Anything which is output, anything which does a job, anything which actuates something is called actuator. So there are 2 components in IoT: sensors, actuator. Sensors, which is the input; actuator, actuates, which is the output. Got it clear? This process is the only block which is pending. So now when I process, earlier I had these computers. Computers are very heavy. I have a lot of power. I have a lot of compute. I have a lot of RAM size, secondary storage, all that. But can you do that in an IoT is the question. Can you do that in an IoT? The answer is no. Why? Because IoT is meant mostly for low power devices. I wanted to put this IoT at a very cheap cost, and I wanted to put it inside volcanoes. I wanted to find whether there is a forest fire. I wanted to measure something in the room, the temperature. Will you invest 25 lakhs for this? Or I'm saying one laptop will cost you 2 lakhs. Will you just write this code, sense the temperature of the room and put a laptop? No, right? Definitely not. Because you wanted more number of units put all over, and you have to look at that it should not be attended very frequently. What I mean by attended, you put in a volcanic area, you wanted to find if there is tsunami coming, if there is a volcanic coming, okay? Will you put a laptop there to find, measure? It will go off, right? And if something goes, where will you power? Will you go power socket in a volcano? Are you getting what I'm trying to tell you, right? So there's a lot of limitations of systems. So I need a low power system, but it should work for years together without human intervention. Okay, there comes your fabrication technologies, sensor designs and all that. You're getting what am I trying to build in? I'm just trying to say everything exists, but you cannot use it because there's a constraint in the application world of IoT. Okay, the place where you're going to apply IoT has some limitation because the place where you're going to put it is an ocean. One time you can go put it inside the ocean. Something goes wrong in 2 days, will you go every time under the ocean? One time, okay. Maybe for 10 years at least it should work forever. Yes or no? So that's why people look for these low cost designs, which is called low power device. IoT is all about low power device. People will ask you question, I have a laptop, why can't I use a laptop? Okay, but I want 1,000 laptops to process 1,000 sensors connected in different places. Will you put 1,000 laptops? You getting? So the choice or the solution for this were microcontrollers. Okay, microcontroller are like smallest units of microprocessors, which are cheap. Okay, the whole revolution changed when Arduino boards came. Okay, but Arduino had the limitation that if you wanted to have internet, you have to buy another board, put on top of it. If you want Zigbee, put on top of it. Now it's creating a lot of vertical problem. Okay, so people were working too much into it, and then Raspberry Pi came. This is one of the very popular microcomputers. What am I trying to tell you is a laptop replaced with another unit in terms of IoT world are the microcontrollers. Are you with me? Input, sensors, output, actuators, sprinkler, LEDs, all those are actuators. Inside I have a logic written. Somebody has to run that logic. I'm saying I'm not going to use laptop, I'm going to put a small computer, which is at 2,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees cost or even lesser. right? And very recently we have some product which has changed the whole world of IoT. What is that product name? In ESP8266 is a Wi-Fi unit, okay? The microcontroller which uses that, the board which uses that, it's called Node MCU. 300 rupees. You can live your lifetime, complete your research, apply patent, publish, do whatever in just 300 rupees. If you order in bulk, it's even more cheaper. You're getting what I'm trying to say. So this Node MCU has become a revolutionary change because Wi-Fi is already inbuilt onto the microcontroller. You don't have to go search anything. Just connect it into your USB socket, program it using your Arduino IDE, and whatever you want you can do. But the only limitation is the number of pins is less. But I'm saying when you start up research, that's okay. But later you can work out with cascading or like parallel processing, or like once you're kind of proficient with this, then we can migrate for better pins. You're getting what am I trying to say? So there is limitation on the number of pins. That's the only thing. But apart from that, can you do a lot of work with that? The answer is yes. So this, I'm just concluding the introduction of IoT. Is it clear? People who maybe there's a mixed audience. Even one person who doesn't know what is basically IoT, this would have driven something. But people who are already well versed, it would be boring. But at least you heard from a different voice and a different style. So at least that much I would guarantee. Okay. So is this clear? Okay, next slide. And this is every technical speak will have something called as architecture, right? So I just thought these are like, again, this architecture of IoT is still under development. There's nothing called as freezed, like your TCP IP, like your OSI model, nobody can change it. Okay, it's fixed and freezed. But IoT architecture, if you wanted to create your own architecture, you are allowed to. You can create your own framework and propose it as one of your PhD thesis. It's still on the go. Okay, nothing is stabilized, but to some extent they have found out these layers are mandatory. Right? So physical layer or the sensing layer is where you have your sensors, microcontrollers, all that. And the network layer is how do I communicate between devices, where you make the choices of Bluetooth, Wi-Fi or Zigbee comes there. And then the third is the data processing, because sensor is all about sensing environment. Sensing environment means data. So you process data to get information. Am I with you? 30. If I say 30, you don't have a meaning. When I say 30 degrees Celsius, it is the information. Right? So I process it in the data processing unit, and either you can do it in the cloud, or you can do it in your Raspberry Pi, you can do it in your Node MCU, whatever you want. So when you do it in your Node MCU, we call that as edge. I don't connect it to anywhere. But the minute you push it to the cloud and work, then we call it as the architecture has become a three-tiered architecture. And then at the last actually becomes the first. Okay, there the problem starts. Application layer is what application do you want to solve? Like she was saying, EEG, ECG of people, stress reduction. The problem starts there. But then you decide later what sensors are required, what networking is required, what. So these questions you will answer, which is called as requirement specification engineering. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is a slide which I wanted to tell you. Be it whichever person you are, mechanical engineer, civil engineer, architecture engineer. Why am I saying all this is I'm working on 3 projects, one with civil IoT, one with architecture, living spaces IoT, another with mechanical, IoT with mechanical, in terms of stress and all this, unit management in terms of all that. So what am I trying to tell you is be whichever engineer you are, you can still attach IoT to it, right? Because IoT is all about industrial aspects as well. So wherever there's an industry, wherever there's something to be sensed, you can still have IoT onto it and add some kind of coding logics into it, ML, AI, whatever. So any area, okay, you are with, you can still say you can adopt your IoT. That is why EC students have adopted, computer science students have adopted, civil, mechanical, electrical, everybody has started adopting. There was somebody saying about energy management. It's completely electrical, right? But still you're trying to solve about saying an IoT with computer science. Can you escape computer science now? Be a mechanical engineer, be a civil engineer. Can you escape computer science? The answer is no. The first thing you do is itself is your laptop. You open your laptop and start using CAD or whatever. So it's become part and parcel of everybody's life that it is multidisciplinary. If you're not multidisciplinary, again the game is over. I told you the saturation. So saturation they are solving using 2 ways. One is old wine and a new bottle technique, the other is multidisciplinary. I am saturated as a computer science engineer, but I can mix to solve the problem of civil engineer. But that's new. Architectural, can I do something with that? The answer is yes, it's fresh. So people are now working with cross-disciplinary platforms where you have another 10 more years to live. Right. Next slide. Okay, so I don't have a chocolate or anything to compliment, but you can try answering this. I'll read it for you. Cloud computing refined from web services is a statement. Okay, cloud computing refined from web services. Big data refined from database systems. If so, IoT is refined from Dash.
Embedded system.
C. Both.
Embedded systems. Wireless sensor networks.
Option C.
Option C. Both. Okay.
Answer is embedded system.
D.
Okay. C. Okay, the answer is D. You might be shocked. Actually, the answer is it got something from embedded system, which is your microcontroller units, hardware. Embedded system is full hardware. Agree?
Yes.
You write a bit of firmware into it, but it's more of hardware. Dedicated systems, that's what we say. Dedicated system for dedicated job. Washing machine, embedded system. Mobile phone, not an embedded system. 25 years, 30 years before, yes, it's an embedded system. You getting what am I trying to say? The earlier, mobile phone was used only for calling. Okay, then I call it. But now, once it becomes general purpose, multi-purpose, I don't qualify it as an embedded system, right? Wireless sensor network. I have sensors which communicates wirelessly, but is that IoT? No. I add something to it. I have added internet. Wireless sensor network not necessarily should have internet, but in my IoT, I need internet. I need cloud. So I'm saying embedded system is there, wireless sensor network is there, plus something more is there. Internet and cloud is also incorporated. If you wanted to call your system as a fully devoted or a fully defined IoT system, okay, you should have basic sensors, actuators, you should have basic microcontroller plus internet and cloud. This is something people usually miss. Embedded system, can it be called an IoT system? With some constraint. Not full IoT systems. The minute you attach IoT, embedded with internet with cloud, then I qualify you as full IoT. That's it. Getting what am I trying to say? The answer is D. And what is that more? I already answered.
Cloud.
Internet with cloud. Next slide. Okay, you answer this now. Is IoT a hype or a bubble?
Hype.
Hype. Okay. Anybody says no? Okay. As an engineer, are you allowed to do assumptions? Are you allowed to do guesses? Are you then called a good engineer? Engineer is always about science. It's all about proofs. Is it prove me? That's why science world doesn't like the question, does God exist or not? Because you cannot prove it scientifically. You getting any problem which cannot be scientifically proven, engineers don't accept. Yes or no? That's a good engineer. Okay, good engineer does not accept anything which is not proven. Yes or no? Yes or no? So now somebody told it's a hype, prove me.
Always there is a problem and you need improvisation.
So then it means it's not a hype. You're getting? If there is something which is going to solve a problem really, then it's not a hype, it exists. It's truth. Now you change the statement. No, it's not hype. It's even more dangerous. The minute you say it's not hype, I'll ask you, tell me why it's not hype.
It is hype.
It's hype? Okay. Give me one more example which is hype. Okay, just 2 minutes. Can you tell me something which was a hype? What is bubble? Have you heard this word in articles? It's a bubble. It would break any time. Have you heard this? These are called jargon words people use. But very commonly people use these words in technological forums. What is bubble? What is the English meaning of bubble? Bubble, will it live forever?
No.
That's the answer, right? That's every word. That's what I told you. Even if you don't know something, if you know the literal English meaning of it and bit of common sense, most of the questions are answered. I'm just saying for a starter, for a beginner. So bubble is something, it's like, it has come out now, looks very beautiful and all that, within some time it's going to break. Right? So anything, have you heard about it? About bubble? Data, okay, data analytics, if you look at, there's so much of hype on that area. We don't know, okay, and people, I've read articles, it's all controversial, we don't know, nobody knows what's happening in the future, but people are telling there is, after some time, everybody who's in the data industry will lose job. There's one part, because AI have come, AI can do anything, everything on its own, why do you need you? We don't need you. Deep learning is there, machine learning is there, so people are thinking like, those are business insights. Give a model, it will give you insight, why would you need you? Right? So there is some kind of myth people are having that it might break down after 10 years. All the data science engineers, data analytics engineers around. And similarly for IoT, okay, you cannot say whether it is a hype or a bubble without a scientific proof. The scientific proof is given by a community called as Gartner. It's not you and I just like that say. You cannot say that. Like you might say by imagination that this might happen, my Tamil Nadu will become so good after some time, this will become like Singapore. All that is dream, okay? Abdul Kalam had some dream. The years was already crossed, right? He dreamt of something, but did it really happen? We don't know. It's youth-filled nation. He had some predictions, right? It might become okay or might not, or with a delay. But this kind of questions, what am I trying to tell you is if somebody will ask you, please go refer for Gartner's predictions. That is how all the big industries, if I wanted to make a new technology into my business, for example, Samsung or Intel or maybe Sony, everybody has a IoT R&D unit. How many of you know this? Huge investment, no returns. Huge investment, no return. Can you tell me one product on your usage, IoT enabled? Is there any word written? What does it mean? Business have not taken it up. Maybe one company recently had this IoT word, I think Samsung. One of the product told there is IoT division, something like that. But there's a huge, I'll tell you, there's a lot of stories behind it. Just one or two companies are just bringing into business. You're getting what I'm saying? Only a sustained technology will be brought into business. I'll give you one case study. How many of you know about NFC? Okay, NFC, there are different abbreviations, so I'll tell you the context. Context is communication protocols. Like Bluetooth, like Zigbee, there was something called as NFC. It's called near field communication. Okay? Have you seen this into your mobile phones or somebody's mobile phones 10 years before? Or 6 years before? NFC was one of the unit which you can switch on. Bluetooth, you can switch on, no? Hotspot. Likewise, one icon was there for NFC in few mobiles. Now it's completely dropped. None of the mobile phones have. And people use that NFC for paying techniques. Tap your phone and then pay. It was NFC. But there was lot of issues at the background that it was hackable or there was some issue at the background which was creating huge losses, and if they get into trouble, they have to pay millions of money for the customer who makes a complaint. There was some vulnerability at the back, they didn't explore it properly, and they launched into the market, and it was a huge failure. NFC was taken back. This is one technology which came, not properly tested, but took back. Are you with me? Likewise, IoT should not happen. Because IoT is a small device. Anything which is small, easily hackable. Am I with you? Big computer. Do you know how? Have you heard about encryption techniques? Yes. I'm going a little away, but with that is from encryption techniques. Yes. Okay, you are using your bank applications in your mobile, right? Yeah. Is it safe?
No.
To some extent. Is it safe? Are you still having some lakhs of money in the bank and still sitting here peacefully, right? Because I'm not using IoT device for your bank application. I'm using laptops or mobile phones. What I mean to say is there is encryption technique which is being done on your passwords or on any of your credentials. What does that mean is they will tell have 8 characters, have 12, mix capital letter symbols. Do you know why? It's because it is found out that if you mix like this more than 8 with these characters, they have tested. It might take 360 years or 1,000 years for the highest supercomputer in the world to find out your password. So any hacker Be it how much ever supercomputing power he has, he cannot break it. Okay, so how did I achieve that was complexity. I added complexity through which I gave you security. Am I making sense? This much computing is required to break down. But now in IoT, it's just 256 KB. In 256 KB, all the choices I can just like that try. I don't have to be super duper engineer. Try all the combinations at one hit. It's called brute force attack. Try all the combinations. Maybe within 5 days I'll hack your password. Because in the memory size, in the memory you have, in the compute you have in IoT device is very small. You cannot have more. So you have to use this in your heater. You cannot put a laptop, no small chip, so it's breakable. Now people are worrying like, how will I add security in this small chip? That is where the problem is. You get it? It's locked. It's a deadlock kind of problem. You cannot put that laptop power into an IoT system. If you don't put a laptop power, then anyway people are going to break. So it's like if you have a camera, if I hack your camera, I can hack everything in your network if you're connected to the network. So the point is, everything will be safe in your system, in your house. This one camera which is there, if I hit it, you're gone. Because it will be all connected to the same network, Wi-Fi. Hack that, I'll get into your laptop. Once I get into the laptop, done. Everything is mine. You getting what I'm trying to say? So that is where security in IoT is a very, very hot research topic. It's not easy. Even if you do 0.001%, it's still an achievement. If people are looking for some problem, again I underline it's not easy. But if you wanted to try it, you can try it. IoT security. Okay, with that I'll stop here. We'll come back to this a little later. It's called Gartner's cycle. I'll tell you how they decide whether it is hype or it's really going to take off all with this. Okay, it's a company in US. Thank you.